Raise your hand. Oh my God. Oh my God. Everyone, round of applause. Okay, so welcome to 1MC, 1 Million Cups. Let me talk about 1 Million Cups real quick and we'll get started. So 1MC was started by the Kauffman Foundation back in 2012 by an intern, actually. And the goal was to learn as much as they could about the entrepreneurial community that they had in Kansas City. And spoiler alert, since then it's grown drastically to 110 communities. Chicago is just one of the 110 that we are at this point. And it's all about sharing cups of coffee to build businesses together, because at the end of the day, to be successful in business, it's to drink coffee with other people, right? Okay, so look at where we're all at today. Workbox, Fulton Market, beautiful spot. They also just opened up a new one, Civic Opera House in the Loop. I've been there. It's gorgeous. If you think this is nice, that's even better. Check both those places out. And anyone drinking coffee right now? Yes, looks like most people, because that's the point of today. Obviously, the presentations, of course, as well. But Betsy, if you want to come up for a second and talk about you three, our coffee sponsor from the beginning.
Hi, everyone. I'm Betsy Adelstein with U3 Coffee. We are a coffee company that was founded about 2 years ago, and we are kind of founded on the basis that we want to unite the world through coffee. Myself and the owners have been 30-year tech entrepreneurs and retired those careers, and we kind of said, wait a minute, our careers were built on 1 million cups of coffee. Morning coffee, afternoon coffee, night coffee, pots of coffee that carry us through the night into the next day. And we opened up our first cafe and roastery in Forest Park, which is just down the street from here. And we installed a coffee system inside 1871, where I met Keith Fix, and he said, "Hey, do you know about one?" And I was like, "Nope, don't know about it." And we're here, and we just installed coffee inside Health Incubator Matter inside the merchandise card as well. So we, being entrepreneurs ourselves, know that it takes a lot of coffee to build these businesses and careers, and that's what we're all about. So I hope you enjoy the coffee. Follow us on Instagram.
Okay, let's get started, everyone. That's why we're all here. So Sid, well, first of all, everyone, standing ovation for Sid and his company, Milan Meetups. Come on down. Thank you. I don't have a clicker, so you're going to have to use the arrows, but your
No
mic's
problem.
on.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for coming today. Thanks for being here. I'm Sid Ketan. I'm a first-generation Indian American. I'm also a DJ and a community builder at Startup Grind Chicago. So today, also just want to mention right here that in another life, I was also a very cute kid. At the very least, cuter than my little brother. But that's not what I'm here for today. Today, I'm here to talk to you about Millen. Millen is a project I've been thinking about for a few years and working on for at least a few months. And basically, it's a way to make feeling close to your relatives and your friends more deep and meaningful without it feeling forced or awkward. And really, it's born out of my own struggle with connecting with my family, my friends, my community, and culture. So here's the backstory. Growing up in an Indian American household, it was a lot of love, but also very high expectations. And that meant, it was all about just going to school, getting good grades, not asking too many questions, and that's about it. And really, as a family, we weren't really talking about much until we were forced to. Until my dad's bipolar disorder nearly cost him his life. Until my parents separated. And until I left college to chase a dream they couldn't understand. Even once we reconnected, it started to look more like friendship, but we didn't have a playbook for having meaningful conversations. There was no kind of connective tissue for that. And of course, I know that I'm not alone in that. Everywhere around me, I saw people stuck in conversation loops. How's work? What's new? What did you eat today? All of these well-intentioned conversations happening in WhatsApp groups, text threads, phone calls, and even in person, really were surface level and led to nowhere. And you might be wondering, why does this matter now? We've known this, we've dealt with this for decades. Well, I would say the data. A 2023 study showed that social isolation comes with a 32% higher risk of mortality. That's right up there with smoking and others. Now, if you pair that with the fact that 1 in 5 US South Asians will experience anxiety or depression in their lifetime, but they're also 3 times less likely to seek mental health care compared to their white counterparts. Now, you can chalk that up to cultural stigma, generational trauma, many other reasons, but the reality is there's no emotional layer that is bringing people closer and making culture feel authentic. So you might be thinking also, hey, there's tools for that. They already exist. But I challenge and ask you, when's the last time you had a meaningful conversation on WhatsApp? Or had the time to play a card game like We're Not Strangers, which is awesome, by the way, when you're millions of miles away or just busy with life. When it comes to Storyworth or Memento, they're also really cool tools, basically trying to nag your parents or grandparents to record a bunch of videos and turn them into a scrapbook. Awesome, but the problem with that is it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and what about maximizing the time you have together right now versus just thinking about legacy? Finally, family and culture go hand in hand, especially in the immigrant community, so we need a solution that can address that part. That's why I'm building Millen. Millen brings people closer through conversation, memories, and rituals. The way it works is families join a circle and they start receiving prompts ranging from what's your favorite food to what do you miss most about grandma. All of those responses, text, voice notes, photos, get stored in an AI memory vault, which are then used to resurface and help people show up better for each other, whether that's online or in person. For example, reminding me that my dad loves golf and tacos instead of me buying him another dad shirt for his birthday, unless that shirt has golf and tacos on it. All right, and here's also where it gets interesting. Brands get a seat at the table instead of space in their feed. And what I mean by that is, as we know, the typical advertising model is you scroll, scroll, scroll. Brands buy a bunch of real estate in your feed, and they basically pattern interrupt you. But what if we flipped that model on its head? What if we made it so that users actually opt in to use the rewards that they accrue from doing what they have on the last slide, conversation prompts, and are able to redeem them for different vouchers? For example, a group dinner that's sponsored by Bargoa, a local restaurant, or a Bollywood movie night that's sponsored by AMC Theaters. Instead of users getting interrupted, they're actually being rewarded for rituals instead of paying with their attention and their data. Now, in terms of the go-to-market overall, we're acquiring users today through community and events. We actually hosted our first event 2 weeks ago and basically brought 20 people together in a room to talk about these deep questions and problems. And it was really validating for the concept to understand, hey, people like really do care about this stuff, and there is a missing component here. And as we grow, I also want to test out the brand partnerships, the B2B model. A lot of that so far has been organic, but admittedly, just with one person, I can do a better job here. As it goes down the line, we also want to test out in-app purchases and affiliate links, really to understand willingness to pay, see if there's an opportunity there, ultimately culminating in a self-serve B2B dashboard and marketplace. Is that for me? Oh, I heard the beeping. I thought it was like time. Either way, I mean, I just did time. So that's where I'm at today. Obviously, I came here to get all of your support and advice. I love your thoughts. I have some questions on the next slide, but yeah. First, I'll give it to
yeah, go ahead and go to the next slide.
Oh, cool. All right. So first off, I'll just say, so far, this has been a solo gig. I have some awesome advisors, one of them in the room, actually. But I'm still looking for building the all-star team that's going to help bring this idea to life. So if that's you or anyone you know, feel free to reach out to me. In terms of a few questions I'm thinking through is, first off, what should I do to build that wait list faster? I mean, I do want to take a very grassroots approach, be community first, but if you were me, how would you approach that?
And maybe speak to what you're doing right now for the waitlist. How are you attracting waitlisters?
Yeah, absolutely. So literally just through events and friends and family. So I really haven't scaled the approach in any way, done a little social, but that's really it so far. So yeah, I think Richard had an idea. Are we passing this mic?
You got it.
Okay, cool.
No, you got 10 minutes. You could stay up here and answer questions.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Feedback.
You don't
from
need
the
a mic.
audience.
Yeah, no, great presentation. Yeah, and honestly, I feel like this problem is not really invisible. It's just not talked about. It's like I talked to my brother, like with first generation, and like we talk like every week, just trying to figure out how to connect with our parents. And so I'm, thinking like multicultural groups and things like that, where like we all talk about these things, but we kind of do it the same way. We do it in private. We're not able to express what's really going on affecting our parents. So I think that is, like we understand. Oh my God, I'm sending this on my friends right now. So I think you're spot on. Like this is huge issues.
Awesome. Looks like I nailed it then. This is my go-to-market. Ashwood?
Yeah. So one thing I started when I've been doing research about stuff like this, and one thing I started realizing is like usually like the parents who come here as immigrants, they're more concerned about driving their way to the American dream, right? Then after that they have kids, and those kids are like almost kind of partially achieving that dream that the parents have already set out. If they did, it's not accomplished it. But they're not too concerned about it. It's really when they have kids, they're like, oh, I want to connect back to my parents and have my kids realize what my grandparents went through wherever they came back from home, right? And what this is all saying is that I think the people you really got to target is really like these mom Facebook groups where I see a lot more moms really trying to figure out how do I get my kids to connect with my grandparents. It's very emotional, right? And when they see something like that, they really want to figure out like how do I do it? And your app might be a good way for them to get that connection back to you.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't even explored that angle. I think there's a question here.
Yeah, I'd like to connect on two different angles. The schools that my children are at, when there's an opportunity to do anything multicultural, South Asian theme, they bring out everybody. They all come to the schools, the music, the festivals, everything like that. And then, like you said, the child kind of goes back on Monday to just sit there and be quiet. I think there's definitely an angle with those parents and those students. And then what's your target for your pilot age range? Because also in my IT corporate life, a lot of mid-40s to upper 50s, first generation Indians in my IT department that I work with, they're very connected with family back home, and then also they have college age children and things like that. So I can definitely plug you into some of those leaders as well.
That would be super cool. It's not stereotypical at all, by the way, that brown people in IT. It's actually a really good point. So far, I've actually been, the research I've done so far, probably like 40 interviews, and to be honest, very biased on who I talk to. It's mostly my friends and network. But what I found is usually it's the younger generation that is like going to drive this just because of course, like mobile app adoption, other trends possibly. And it's like that younger person asking and, inviting their family, their parents to this circle. But to your point, and kind of I think what Ashwin's saying as well, maybe that's not the right target. It's actually that older generation who's now had kids and wants to make sure that they can connect with their grandparents, which I know is a problem for me, right? Like sometimes I hop on a call with my grandparents in India and I'm like, I just run out of words to say. And so I think it's something I really haven't explored much. But in terms of what I've thought of my targets so far, it's been the younger generation being kind of the driving force, and then the rest of the family kind of, if they get invited to an app from their kid and it's like, hey, you have to do this, or here's a challenge, then they'll say yes, when push comes to shove. Dan?
What was the kind of monetization model?
Yeah, so step one I want to try is in-app purchases. So basically imagine like more storage or translations or like some ways where there's premium features. But ultimately, I would like it to not be passed on to the users and actually be an opportunity for brands. So similar to like Meta or TikTok, it's like very specific culturally relevant brands could participate in this, pay similar to an advertising model. But two kind of benefits of this is one, we don't want to sacrifice user data, so it'd be like a kind of a closed community. And then two is instead of like getting one customer, they're actually getting 3 to 4 customers in a group that are now doing that activity together versus just, once again, user scrolls and maybe the brand reaches out. So that's kind of where I'm planning to monetize in the future. Yeah, that's something I've like barely thought about, but definitely a problem, right? And to me, that's where it starts to get closer to like a fintech rewards app, right? It's like where people you're kind of putting the power in the hands of the user and then letting it float that way. But you're totally right. Especially in the early days, it's going to be like very carefully curating those brands. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Someone told me that they're like, you should just target people when they go to school, like when the mom is dropping off their kid at school. So I actually just started exploring that and want to keep going. Yeah.
And also on that, because you're focusing on like communities and multicultural, like there's a certain identity around like the school itself in a lot of communities, especially like in places like Chicago, it's really strong identities around like Southside schools, and I think that over time we've started to see, having just come from working with CPS, like the disconnect between what used to be like the definition of like the heritage of that school versus now different, youth are really focused on that, so it could be a way to like cross generation lines, through alumni, your groups and whatnot, because that really is the center of a lot of communities.
Very interesting. Definitely haven't thought of that. Raj?
On the note of the multicultural groups, like there's a Chicago, like put on by like the city of Chicago, there's like South Asian like diaspora community. They do like a dozen events a year. So try and tap into that. I also think with a lot of these potential micro group activations, it's not just going to them being like, hey, will you talk about my app? It's like having some kind of content you can maybe like collaborate with them on, whether it's a dinner night, or whether it's even like, hey, I've got a webinar on like 5 ways to better talk with your families. And a bunch of people will probably sign up for that. So that brings me to the next point, which is use all these opportunities to build up a newsletter, whether it's like Substack, whatever platform it needs to be, HubSpot, and start actively and regularly talking about issues or the challenges, or even just like the better side of things that are around this topic area. And the other thing I would say is not so much as a suggestion, just something to be aware of. By chance, I happened to see a video on Instagram yesterday. Someone talking about how it was like, you ever noticed, it was an Indian guy, you ever noticed there's 2 South Asian communities in the US. There's people who immigrated here. They're like, there might be millennial, Gen Z, early Gen X. They immigrated here, and they're all at one party. And then there's the first gens, and they're all at a different party. You don't really see overlap between the 2 parties. So I think that's like that's a good like nugget to start like following to just figure out like why is that the case, and is there an opportunity for that?
Nice. Yeah, another question.
Last question here.
Okay.
What comes for me, this is a bit different. I think the multicultural angle is absolutely so important and needed and aligned. But we can also get it from the communication angle. Because if I zoom out, I see it's a challenge with communication in our world of people needing to learn how to rethink how we communicate in ways of depth and bridge connection. So you can partner with like the communication network in Chicago, the different communication focused groups as well, and then bringing this angle of multicultural communication.
True. Okay.
Let's give Sid a round of applause.
Do all those questions get recorded as well?
Yes.
'Cause I think I kept a lot of it in my head, but
It's always funny. We give out the notebooks afterwards, so you can't take notes during it.
all right.
It forces you to watch the video back.
Fair enough. All right. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay. We still have one more presenter. I'm just going to get out of the way and say, Patricia, pardon my voice crack. Patricia, welcome to the stage, presenting on PathWorks and Flow. Let's get standing ovation, 1MC standing ovation. All right, give me a second to get this up. Okay, let's see.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. In the back of your mind, I want you to keep the word intentional. Remember that word, being intentional. So, I am Patricia Wicks. I am the founder of PathWorks, a youth development strategist and consulting firm. I've been around since 2009 with 2 verticals, the Adult Ready Academy, which are services and professional development for people who help young adults move through life and live effective adulthoods. I'll say it that way. And the other side of it is my synergy building consulting, which helps the organizations and the adults who work on their behalf to work better together. From that, I've created Flow. Flow is a tech solution to a process that I've developed over these last 20 plus years to help young adults be intentional with their decisions in academics and in life. What am I pressing?
Just the arrow.
The arrow. Let's see.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So why does it even exist? Well, this is Hope. And she's not a real person, but she absolutely represents the young adults that I serve. And the gentleman that just spoke was talking about expectations. There's so many expectations on this person. They're supposed to go to college, supposed to get a good grades. They're supposed to be effective in their lives. They're supposed to make great decisions. They're supposed to be independent as soon as they turn 16. How many of us are that way yet? Right? Some of us. But that prefrontal cortex doesn't allow us actually to even have executive function yet, even though we can mimic it. So there's all of these processes that she's responsible for accomplishing, but we're not actually giving her the tools to actually own her outcomes. We tell her what to do, where to be, why to be, right? But we don't tell her how to do it. And quite frankly, we don't actually have systems that do that in a youth development way. Well, that's where Flow, I keep doing it, sorry guys. Help me.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Now it's not working.
There we go. And so what that turns into when we look at it beyond that individual person is how it actually impacts everybody, because we're all systems. I'm an individual system, our family is a system, the society that we live in is a system, and there's expectations external as well as our inside self, the priorities that we actually are here to accomplish. So what happens is Hope turned to the tools that we have, right? She sits down with her advisor, she talks to her parents, or her parents explain to her what's supposed to happen. She's looking at apps. She's trying to figure out how to make everything happen without being overwhelmed. But the problem isn't those tools, it's her ownership of it. And that disconnection happens when I'm doing all of the things, but I don't see the outcomes that I want to achieve, and I continue to receive stress. What happens is we get about 1 out of 4 young adults going to college and in that first year dropping out. Not because they weren't academically available or aware, but because it becomes overwhelming and they really don't know where to prioritize. That also leads to about $10 million a year, guys, $10 million a year, where universities are losing money due to those dropouts. They're losing money because of all the probation services and things that they're doing to help their students stay. And they're also reputation, right? Because we want to make sure that we're the #1 school. These are the types of things that Flow helps with. The young people that I've served, as soon as they find out what intention is to them, as soon as they understand what holds themselves, like why do I wake up in the morning? What is it that I'm here to accomplish? As soon as they understand that, they're able to go through obstacles, objections, barriers, they ask questions, they seek the information that they need. And Flow allows them to do that. It helps them shift from being responsible theoretically for someone else's expectations to owning their own outcomes. And that, my friends, is personal accountability. Productivity, prioritization, and personal wellness is not found in any current planners on the market right now. We did extensive research to recognize that. And what's exciting is the young adults, literally hundreds of young adults that I've served over the past 25, 30 years, as well as the organizations that I've served and I've processed this system with them. What they tell me is, Ms. Patricia, you taught me how to be intentional. You taught me how to understand and own my outcomes. So I don't have to blame you for not getting a grade. I recognize exactly what I did and what I didn't do to achieve that. Now I have a process to achieve it long going. The other thing I want to share is we recently launched the Flow Study Guidebook, which is my first digital product, so productizing my different pieces. And it sold immediately, which was amazing because it's the first time doing that online, not knowing people, right? So I know that it works. The other thing about Traction is I already have higher education institutions interested in beta testing it. They're just waiting patiently for me to get my MVP done. And I want to shout out Tenacity because they are doing my MVP. So this is an amazing community to get things done. I also have a group called Flow Innovators. And if you're interested in learning more about this journey or giving me opportunity to think about it more or to be a beta tester or even one day invest in it, you can scan this QR code and become an innovator. And my challenge question is, what were the most important decisions that you made? Those of you who are already founders, maybe you've even exited, but what are some of the decisions that you made at this point, MVP to go to market? Like just what are things you're thinking about? And specifically with prioritizing intentionality, prioritizing non-dilutive funding, as well as balancing this bootstrap that I am with outside support. So thank you for listening. I'm really excited to hear your thoughts and to continue to bring Flow to the world. Flow stands for Focused Learning, Ownership, and Wellness. And it's about being intentional with your life. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello.
You come on Ireland, you said like the three frontal cortex,
Mm-hmm.
because you know the human brain on 40 develops at age 25.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, are you developing some type of algorithm to go along with this?
Great question, and I appreciate that. So I am a human developmentalist by expertise, and so the app already has that aspect in it, if that makes sense. So yes, but is there an algorithm? No, I'm not tech that way. But the process that I've done with my students over the last 20 plus years, this is the process that I teach them. And so we go from a young person who might have had an IEP, who wasn't supposed to be able to even graduate, who learns how to do this, meaning taking ownership of what their responsibilities are, establishing their goals, going through their own actions, honoring and expecting what they get, why they get it, and then realizing, wait a minute, I can do this. So that self-efficacy builds. That young person, and I'm thinking of a specific student right now, from sophomore year in high school, not having any real classes to his senior year, graduating on time, going to Kent State University actually, and he's now almost a nurse. But he didn't read when I first met him, as an example. So I do have neuroscience in my background, but I'm not going to create an algorithm. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so to answer these questions, first is to ask, do you have like a team supporting you or is it just you?
Well, I have this wonderful team. Hello, everyone.
We're all on the same
You are
team.
my team. No, it's myself. I do have a couple of tech advisors that absolutely support me. I was honored to be part of the Tech Boost program with Hypersense Solutions, which is a wonderful company who actually created my prototype, which is very cool for the onboarding process. I have advisors and people that are supporting me. But again, this is not a new idea. This is not like, oh, I think I'm going to make an app. No disrespect. It's more I'm monetizing, digitizing, productizing the process that I've already validated that's already helped hundreds of young people. And my goal is to scale what I do so that it could be global.
Okay, cool. I think for like non-dilutive funding, definitely reach out to people who've already won those grants and see if they can like help you with the application process. Just because there's like a specific thing that you don't know what they're looking for, and then like they won that grant, so they'll like know. Happy to help if there's anything I can do to help. And then for NSF and SBIR, there's a lot of like so the state has like grant writers that you can tap into who can help you with the entire process. It's like a hefty process, so give it at least 6 months to like do that entire process. But yeah, they can pay for a grant writer. Again, take it with a grain of salt from the government. So you get what you get. You can pay like upwards of tens of thousands of dollars for really good grant writers. But at the end of the day, like the reason that they're giving, they're called phase 0 grants, is because from NSF SBR, the Illinois state also monetizes off that, so they get money as well for every grant that an Illinois state resident wins. So it's like a win-win, right? So tap into those resources that exist within like helping you with that process, and let me know if I can do anything.
Thank you, and I absolutely will, because the one that's due in November, I'm actually applying for. Yes, so that's why I'm asking. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I would say one of the important decisions that I've made over the years is staying here, Chicago, my own environment where I'm building and learning from. There's going to be people that'll say, oh, if you go to this market or if you go to this city, stop what you're doing, pull up stakes and go here. You might find a more welcoming ecosystem. But what it's helped us with is we've grown. Aisha just mentioned a bunch of resources. Those people are in this room. Tanaski, he's in this room. You've got the people around you, so as you're building it out, frustration might come, but you can get over that frustration and still be at home with it, if that makes any sense.
It absolutely
So that's
does.
one big decision that I made. I didn't run for a market that might be a little more accelerated to build out.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I think the fact that you are essentially productizing and process more than work is really good stuff. I think a lot of people are building off of hypothesis. You're building off of reality. So particularly as it pertains to like any early fundraising you might be doing, like, lean more into that. Like this is not, it's not a theory. You're not raising money to test a theory. You're raising money to scale a process that you've already proven. So to that effect, the technique that tends to work around this is basically refer to all the manual services you can do at this point as R&D revenue generated.
Yes.
The idea here is that like most companies have to pay another firm to get their R&D performed. You've got to get your R&D.
Yes. Over $500,000.
The other thing I'll say around the question of balancing the bootstrapping with the outside support, bootstrapping is really good, but also be real with yourself on where are you accidentally like martyring yourself through bootstrapping.
Right.
There are certain things that just make sense to pay a little bit of money for to save 6 months. So not everything, but identify for yourself, am I making it harder because I need to bootstrap this, or can I make it a little bit easier for myself by pay these vendors or get this outside funding or whatever?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And I will say, you just gave me an additional definition even, because for me, bootstrapping is just I pay for everything. Right? Not that I do everything. That Who Not How book was really helpful. But yes, what you're saying, thank you. And that's why I'm hiring Tanaski. not doing that. Yes, sir.
Not advice, but maybe I'll just give you a little glimmer of
Yeah.
like, so the first company I was a founding engineer at, this founder actually, kind of very similar to you, had this like idea he wanted to bring out to market, and he not just had a hypothesis, but he worked in the industry so long and digitized it, productized it. And so then when he made so many decisions by himself because he's a solo founder, but to your first point, like balancing bootstrap with outside support, when he reflects back,
Yes.
he bootstrapped the whole thing, but sometimes he's like, maybe I should have gone out and done fundraising, but he trusted his gut at the end of the day. And so I think the biggest thing he had, the advice he always gives to himself was like, trust my gut, because I knew what got me to that point from step one, right? Then he trusted his gut to get from step one and scale it out, right? And he hired people that believed in him. So I would say, like, believe in yourself at the end of the day, and if you feel like you need the funding to scale it out, trust your gut, not what other people say. Especially around timeline, right? There's gonna be so many things. You're climbing up a mountain. He always felt like he was climbing a mountain every day. But what he always went back to was not only his gut, but his customers that had faith in him. And he started realizing the type of customers he wanted to bring out to the platform. Right? So you can always pick and choose.
Yeah.
That's what he started doing. He started picking. He knew that there's so many people to help out, but he picked and chose the people he wanted to work with. And that's what really led him to his success and brought me on like as his engineer, brought other people on as like sales and stuff, because he saw that same thing in all of us. Right? So trust your gut, you know, and feel what you feel at the back, right? Because you know the market.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely appreciate that. There's so much I could say back, but I will give if others have questions. But thank you. I'll just receive. Thank you. Other thoughts?
Any last questions? Okay.
I'll say one other thing. Then.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I want you to be who you're here to be and do what you're here to do. Period. That's it.
Mic drop. Mic drop. Okay. As we wrap up, I just want to say, I mean, not to shout out, you know, that Devin one more time with tenacity, but
you know, Devin and tenacity.
Yeah,
you know,
just Devin and tenacity today. But this is the room to be Wednesday morning. I mean, Ish brings it up. Patricia talks about it. This is it. You guys are here. So celebrate yourself for coming. Come back next week. We will be here again. Any events happening this week? I kind of look at Crystal right away, but any events you want to talk about? Yes, go ahead.
There's a group called Startup Experts focused on HR, finance, and ops. Primarily in London, they're doing a networking event tomorrow night at Northland on the River. Tell them about or just come by and do it.
Any other events? Okay, summer is kind of coming to a close, which means, what a good segue. Workbox has a end of summer mixer tomorrow night at the Civic Opera location. So Workbox over there, check it out. You're all welcome to be there. Also, speaking of Workbox, you're welcome, very gracious, you're welcome to co-work here today. Welcome to stay around, talk for a while, as we all do afterwards, and then you're welcome to go upstairs to the second floor and co-work as well. So we are 1MC. We will be back again next week for 2 more founder presentations. Thank you, everyone. And then organizers up front, founders, presenters, we'll get pictures with you guys, and then we're gonna put the chairs. If you guys could grab a chair and just slide them over to the side, that would be great. Thank you guys, everyone. Thank you.